Hey, this is Maggie. We're going to go on a house tour of my third installment of Hall of the Lunar Champion houses to look at several that inspired me. I'm working on my own, so we're going to take a tour through some more. I've got 5 houses today. As you can see on the list, I'm using Essential Housing Hub from Essential Housing Tools to go visit various open houses of the Hall of the Lunar Champion builds that have inspired me. So some of them have effects, most of them do not. So we're going to start out with the first one from Synthetic that I really liked and go take a look at their build. So the first thing I notice is I love the moon gate use. I've got to get some of my own moon gates. They're kind of expensive. I think 100,000, 150. I don't remember. But they're in the Roman. You get them for achievements and elsewhere. But I really love how they've covered up the portals and used the moon gates right on top of them to just change the entire look and feel of the way those portals work into the different wings of the Hall of the Lunar Champion. So I thought that was definitely inspiring and something that people should look at for their own spaces. I think it makes it really just changes the way it looks. So we're going to go visit one of their sites here. We're going to go into the Hall of Colossus. I believe that's the one I chose. I really love the way that they've done the entryway here. Again, totally different. They've used the elsewhere platforms on the sides to block it off. And then they've built 2 entryways with the steps to go up on either side into their custom space. I thought this is beautiful. I just loved everything about what they did here. The use of the elsewhere shrines or from the luxury gazebo, excuse me, from the luxury vendor, using the wedding curtains. I believe these are red guard gazebos that we're under right now with the elsewhere walls to fill it in. So the space is just beautiful and well appointed. I could see hanging out here waiting for a wedding to start. The fountains are well set off. They've got the wedding trellises in to divide up. They even used some of the ramps to make like it was window panes. Here you can see that they've used Bella out here. I love the framing with the different colored cherry trees. It really sets her off and makes the space just lovely. And then they have built out over the waterfall. So everybody uses the waterfall a little bit different, and I really like how they have incorporated it so you can just look over it and see it as part of the space there. So really, really great use of space. They've built, this is clever. I think I actually end up missing a space in this. I'm going to go back and tour this blend alone. But they use the wine that hold the wine casks. You can put a couple barrels usually you see on them to make actual porch swings. How clever is that? Really, really well done. Use the gazebos to make part of the outside doors and entrances. I thought that's a great use of transitioning the space. And then, the lion medallions. Here's an outdoor sitting area using the red guard arcs. And then they put the large elsewhere shrine there. So here's where you would go for drinks. Oh, excuse me. Here you go for drinks and where your wedding things are. So really awesome space. That's Synthetic. I thought they did a great job. So now we're going to go to our next space here, which is WHRR, I think, when it comes up. And we're going to go see their build of the Hall of the Lunar Champion. I'll make sure that my YouTube notes include this. So what I liked about this is they totally transformed the space to just something completely different. So they used the time-worn, Eleanor time-worn steps on the side, on each side, to fill in and make that look differently. And then the Eleanor ballroom floors. And then you can see where the steps just stick out a little bit. They've turned those into shelves. Very clever. Love the use of this pool here in the middle that looks like a little swamp. They don't have any special effects, so they're doing this all. I love this. This is something everybody should put in one of their builds. You can make your own custom couches. I think these are the orc beds, or the orc one of the orc chairs, and they've turned them in by like probably 8 of them there, to make them into a lounging couch. Really clever. You have a corner here where they've built out where your water comes in, using the elsewhere footbridges, and then the Alinort ballrooms and the elsewhere platforms. So here they've built your custom. Boy, it's early in the morning. Sometimes the only time I have to video. So this is a nice space where you can eat out. They've built a custom. I'm really terrible about the eating places, so I really like that they've done that and appreciate that. They've used the Red Guard arcs to make the entryway, good way to transition your space. And then yeah. So you come over here, and they've put one special effect. I love the way they've created the little side beds and gardens. So you come out to their space, they lead you out, and they've direct you with the hedges into where they want you to go next. What I loved out about here is they've got some custom areas that they've built up really nicely. They've got Dibella over here. You know, she's a really big statue, and I liked how they showcased her off by building this little area that you'll come on here and then walk down to Dibella. So I thought that was a great way to show off. She's huge, so she takes up a lot of space unless you sink her in the ground. And then this way you can show the full statue. So I thought that was a really good way to show that off. So our next space is Thorol, let's see which one. Make sure I'm picking the right one. Stewart Horker Cellar, excuse me. Thorold GM. You know, you always mess up when you try to name these things. But what I've loved about this, so this is a guild hall, it looks like. And what I loved about this is the fact that they've used essential housing tools to really label where you're going. I've turned it off here for a second so you can see without the special effects. So they've turned this into a total, you know, usable space. It's got functional areas, but what that they've, you know, pulled out, and they have the different foot lockers in there for storage, etc. So it's really well laid out. It's a great place for, you know, newbies to come and be able to find things, or just, you know, parts of your guild. But what's really cool is what they've done on the other side. So one of the features of Essential Housing Tools is to build portals everywhere. So you can build portals to your friends, to other guilds, to spaces. They all have, you know, you can't go to a specific space, but you can go to a friend's or one of your guildmates' space. Oh, goodness. It's not you, I promise. But what I love is that they also built in the load screens. That's Spicy Life Guild, one of J. Hart Ellis's guilds that you can see the housing hikes on Friday nights on Twitch. You should check that out. But what I love is that you can go into these different portals and just hop from here. So they've called out and actually showed the load screens to be the different colors. So there's Divine Design Alliance guilds to their guild hall. So it's a great way to make like a big room where you tell everybody where to go. So this room doesn't have anything in it, but I thought it was cool. They call it Walrus Mart. Clever. And this is where they sell unbound items occasionally. So you'll have tables out here with the various unbound items on there. They didn't have it this time. I'm assuming that happens, you know, as they're doing auctions and so forth. So the next place we're going to go see is Gorak 60's space. I really liked some of what they did. They didn't have any visual effects, but I really like how they laid out the space. So let's go take a look at that. Now the first entryway just has some room and vines and rock and clutter and debris that you get with the space because they've closed it off. They're pretty much leading you out to the Hall of Colossus. They've got all their furniture out there. They got looks like 647 out of 700. So you can see they've used quite a bit of space. But I was really inspired by what they did out here. I thought it was lovely. So let's take a look at that. So the middle part, just very simple, not too special, but I really like the symmetry they used with the trees to light, to point you where you want to go, where they want you to go. So they've blocked off most of that other space because it's this is a giant space, so you have to figure out how to fill it up, and everybody concentrates. I love these doors. I'm gonna have to get these myself, the interactable doors. This was clever. They used ferns to make this like a overhead, like a gazebo. I thought to hang lanterns from. I thought that was clever, and use of you've got lots of ferns left over. Sometimes you get those over time. But what was cool is how they lead you down over the waterfall here. So we'll go down. Now, they use, there you go, they use that savage grading. Now, the first time I go down here, I'm totally miss. So I didn't want to cut it out because housing can be lethal, and I ended up hitting the slaughterfish, not one, but two, but three times. I died. Third time becomes the charm. So I'm quickly going back through here, back down to that space. But I thought it was funny enough to leave in the video rather than cutting it out, because it kind of points out, like, not everybody is going to see your house the same. So you should, go several times and make sure you don't fall off yourself and die. Not that they needed to do that, but it's a nice thing to do. I appreciate that. But then I decided that I really should follow it the right way, and I might not die. So they've used the Argonian, I think those Argonian fences, to build the walkway down. And I thought that was clever. It blends in really nicely, so much more natural element. You can see where it totally blends in with the rocks. But then I think, let's see where I fall off again. As we come around here, I can't, oh, see? I just turned right around and can't get myself back out. I managed to get myself mostly out, but then I fall back in again and can't get back out. So the slaughterfish, man, they're dangerous. So the third time's going to be the charm. Sorry about that little tour through Maggie's falling to her death multiple times. That will happen. So let's now take the third time, and I'll show you how you should actually get down this space. Thought that was funny. Housing can be dangerous. I've fallen many times. All right, so let's go the third time down this, and I'm going to follow the path completely because I really want to show you what's at the bottom. They did a really great job of making this just a really special, romantic, lovely space. I'm going to take some ideas from here and incorporate them into my own space. That's why we're doing these housing tours, right? So that you can look at what other people done, what other people have used their imaginations to come up with. And everything is different. Everybody does it a little bit different, and focuses on different things depending on what they enjoy. What I really loved here is the way that they built this outdoor kind of garden over the lake. Down here, the lake glows at night, so when you come, it's really beautiful. And they've just really done this natural outdoor space that I feel feels totally like it could be here. It doesn't matter if it always could be here or not, because, this is a fantasy game and you're just building out these, fantasy spaces. But it is nice to role play and have things built like they would be. I love how they filled in the water, so it kind of cuts it down and makes it not look so vast, and then added these cherry trees, bamboo, little outdoor plants, the wedding flowers in the water. They did a fantastic job of transforming this space. You feel like you're in a totally different space. They added this little cozy romantic area over here that you could hang out and just come in and enjoy your space, have dinner, and then come out here and enjoy the romantic water and other spaces. So well done, Gorak 60. I'll include all these in my space. So our next one is Faith and Hope 57. We're going to do one last one that we tour on my Hall of the Lunar Champion inspiration tours. What I liked here, I really liked the way that they did the big opening. It's very simple. It's simple, but well appointed, right? You come in here. They don't have any special effects, so this is all done through making sure your furniture is lined up. They've used a lot of flowers, a lot of texture, added plants, big items, little items, added, all the areas that you might need, a few pets. I really like the way they use the pedestals to showcase the plants. And then when you go into their Hall of Colossus, that's what most people have completed so far. I really like the all the use of the wedding trellises. I think those are with the flowers, showing off the moons, using the moon gate there. They've added a mercantile Khajiit tent there to give it, but what was really beautiful here was the way that they used Debella's garden and the Debella statue. I really thought that was a lovely showcase her with the glowy coral. And then they've added a functional area here, this crafting station, added in a couple of Eleanor time-worn ballroom steps so that you could use that. And here's the Red Guard tent. And then this is how they used their showing off the waterfall. Again, everybody does this a little bit differently, and I like how other people, each person focuses on a different part of the space, makes everything truly unique. They use that moon gate just to show off that outer view here in it. So lovely, lovely space that they've created, that Faith and Hope 57, that I really enjoyed. I think when I go in here, let's see if we go into the other hall. I think they're still working on it. This is new, Moongrain Fane. You get this from one of the dungeons, so people are just now starting to work on it. So we'll see, come back and visit when they've built this again. So I hope they'll share it. So hope you've enjoyed our tour. Happy housing, and we'll talk to you soon. Cheers!